Hello and welcome to Gunnar Weiskamp's Web Development. Today is Lesson 18, Part 2, Angular and ngGrid. So this is Part 2 using Angular and ngGrid. A common issue is using Angular with Visual Studio MVC. And in this lesson we will show you how you can use Angular ngGrid with MVC. So what MVC and Visual Studio obviously allows you to do is get information from the server side onto the client side, whether that's database information or hard-coded information on the server side. And that's a key component. So in this lesson we're going to build on the last one, and we're going to get MVC server-side code onto our web page using Angular ngGrid. So to build, gone too quick. To build today's application, I'm using Visual Studio 2013. So do first of all File, New Project here in A, and then in the B we've got Web and 4.5 selected, and then go here in C and we want an empty MVC app selected as well. Okay, so just do A, B and C there. Right, let's jump into our application. Here we are, and so we've got an empty MVC app, as we can see here, with our controllers, models and normal components. So first we're going to inject our dependencies with the manage NuGet packages. The first one we want is Angular. Would be probably a good place to start, I guess. And here he is. Install. Once we're installing this, we'll create a scripts folder here. As you can see, it's just popped up where all the Angular code ends up. If we were to have a quick squiz, it's amazing how the Angular world has grown. You can see all the different components there. It's definitely a growing language. Next, after Angular is installed, we're going to install Jquery. There you go, all our files have been installed. Good, so now Jquery is next. Here we go, we've got to install this guy here. And after the Jquery, last but not least, is obviously the ngGrid. Just make sure to install this guy here, not this guy here. So install ngGrid. These will also finish now. This will also add certain styles for the ngGrid, which is in our content folder here. You can see the ngGrid comes with certain styles created here as well with that. So now we need to install one last thing, and I need to do that via the package manager console, because my NuGet is not working correctly. So, and you can already see I've already done this before. I've had to muck around a little bit with it. My NuGet's sort of not functioning correctly. So we need to install. You can do this simply via the package manager console. You can maybe do it via NuGet as well. But we're installing here is this JSON of the JSON process here, because there'll be some process within this that needs Newton soft JSON to work as well. So just press on that, and there's a lesson in there in itself. Sometimes you will have problems with NuGet. I haven't been able to resolve it, but to get around that, I've still been able to inject or put in the Newton soft process via using the package manager console instead of the NuGet package manager. So technology is all about problem solving, and can be you have to be patient with it. So now we've got all our dependencies. Let's first add in a controller. And here we go, add, and we just call it home. While that's doing that, I'm actually going to grab the code for the home controller, which is here. And I will point out the Newton soft stuff, which you might already be seeing there. Here we go. Whoops, daisy. Now, we might as well already add it in. So it should highlight here, and you can right click it here. See, here's this object here, the JSON convert needs the Newton soft, which we just installed by the package manager console. So we've just added him into the solution by right clicking on it. So here it's come up here, so you can see. So that's well, that was added. Now let's add that. Now let's add this payroll data model into our solution. Okay, add new class. I'm going to call it that. Let's grab the code for that. Makes things all a little bit quicker. Let's add, I'm going to talk about the code after we've added everything. Let's add our JavaScript file. The JavaScript file will hold our Angular code. I traditionally call this my app. And let's grab the code for the JavaScript file, which is here. And then we need just two more things. We need so this JavaScript file has obviously been added into here. There we go, there it is. Now we just need to add still two things. One is a style sheet. Let's grab the code for that as well, which is over here. There it is. Let's save all that. And now the last thing we need to do is add a view, obviously, for our home controller process here. Sorry, we haven't brought in the models folder. Right, that should have brought everything in. To add a view, we first have to build our app. Let's just shrink everything down here. Okay, build. Then we'll add our view, and then we're all set to go. And then I will talk about the code a little bit, just so we can get our head around of how everything's coming together. Right, it's built, so let's add our view. Honestly, it doesn't really matter what we select here. Let's just do list. I'm not going to reference anything. Why is that come up like that? It's not allowing me to add anything. There we go. Empty without model. Yep. We're going to strip all the code out of here. So what I found within this process is this part here of the code is probably a little bit of a tricky thing to figure out, and this is probably one that'll need some explanation if you're new to adding in ngGrid with MVC. Let's close that down. Okay, so how best to explain all this. Let's start with our controller code. So here in our controller code, we've got a function which is going to display a page called get payroll data. It's just got a list object, and obviously we can see in here it's got payroll data information for certain people. So we've got first name here, last name here, and their salaries. This object here will then be put into this object here, which is a var, because we want to first we're converting this object here via the JSON convert into this employees JSON object here, and then we're returning that to the view. These are important technical points because the view which is going to receive the information needs to get the information in a JSON style type object. And yeah, it needs to be read in a JSON style object. I haven't got a example of that sort of style of information here, but I will try to type that out. So anyway, this just returns the JSON style object to, let's look at, why don't we go to the view next. Actually, I might explain this. So this is our view here. I might explain this. I like to split screens. I want to explain this with our Angular JavaScript code at the same time. So that object you saw here in the home controller, that will end up here in our model object. You notice we haven't called any C# models up here in our section. It all ends up here in this model object. This information will end up here in our model object. So this is somewhat new to me, this sort of process of doing it like this, and we're putting it here in this object here, and we're using the ng initialize or init to initialize this object. So when this page loads up, this is called, and this information ends up in here, and this information will end up in here, which inadvertently ends up in our JavaScript file. So this is where we've got to sort of talk with a number of combinational things coming together. So if you saw my first tutorial on ngGrid, you can see you first have to inject it here. So this is the ngGrid component that we're injecting in our module area here. And then we're creating our controller, and this is our controller here. This is how those two things tie together. So now we've got this my payroll data object, and as you can see, it's the same as this guy here. So he's the object that's going to hold all this information, which is here, which is this guy here. Once we pass this object off here into our ngGrid grid options object, so this guy comes and ends up here, which inadvertently ends up here in our data object. How's that for a lot of twisting and turning? So this code here obviously is referenced by this HTML here, and I should have mentioned, make sure you've referenced all your files here as well. So I have referenced, you can see the JavaScript code here in our scripts folder, and then we've got the ngGrid here, we've got the Angular, we've got the style sheet here, which is in our styles up there. We've also got the ngGrid styles up here, and we're also referencing the Jquery. So make sure you've referenced all those. But yes, so we've got, and this style is also here in our styles object. So that's where that style comes from. But then we've got this important ngGrid attribute, and that has to be injected to show our grid information. And as you can see, this ngGrid grid options is populated via the scope object here. So literally on the scope, we're just putting an object with information which ends up in our ngGrid attribute. This is confusing for you, it's confusing for me. I do find the ngGrid a little bit of a high-level Angular lesson, so I would not try to start here if you're new to Angular. Feel free to see some of my Angular tutorials before this. But now if we build this application, what we end up seeing is this guy here. So there we have all that information coming up. Let's just, and we can see here that we've got Mary, Wills and Tom all showing with their relevant salaries and the relevant headings there. So all that technology comes together to produce this output here. And obviously the important thing is here we've got a server-side process showing code here using the Angular and Jquery, which is a key piece of functionality. Right, so I hope that was of some use to you guys. But if you need any more help, feel free to visit my website there at goodandwisecamp.com, and please subscribe to my channel as well. Thanks for that, and good night. Bye.